Good morning, everyone. And I hope everybody had a nice, good night's sleep last night. Excellent sleeping weather. This is the kind of weather where you just have the windows open, maybe have a nice little quilt, but it's just gorgeous weather right now, thankfully. And hopefully you've been able to start to get out, as I think we've been closed in a little too long. I loved your speeches. The informal speeches were excellent. Some of your stories were just really, really good. I know one gentleman was saying, yeah, probably most people talk about their major. No, people love to talk about their favorite vacation. And it was great to hear some of the great places a lot of you had gone on vacation and some of the good times that you had. And one of my favorite parts about this assignment is the fact that even though we're not going to get into the public speaking chapter till next week, one of the keys to being an effective public speaker is to have great knowledge of your topic. And so, since there's a lot of you who have never given a speech before, a formal speech, some of you, of course, are English is your second language. So this might be the first time you're giving a formal speech in English. This class, when you get to the informative and persuasive speech, giving you an opportunity to talk about something that I think you all know something about, and that, of course, is yourselves. And because you have that great knowledge, I thought everybody was really good in delivering their messages. But hopefully, as you saw the first couple of videos that I sent about how we're going to run this class and how we're going to take it easy and relax, many of you did not intend to take an online class. You just happen to have to take one because that's the way all of them are being taught right now. And it was interesting because, if you're someone who is taking an online class or someone who's taken online classes before, and even if it is a speech class, yeah, you know in advance where you're going to be, what you're going to do, and of course, who's going to be around. Yet, I believe there were 3, possibly 4 of you who delivered your speeches from your cars. And of course, the reason why is that, number one, you're not used to taking an online class, but number two, it's so difficult when you have to do a speech in an online class and your entire family is in the room or in the house or around because we're all in a lockdown. This is an unbelievably unique situation we're all in. So we're just going to do our very best. And things like that, we're going to try and correct them. But I would say if this was a regular semester in a speech class online and you're delivering a class from your car, somebody might gig you a few points for that. But I'm not going to do that here because, of course, I don't want you to give a speech in your car anymore. But that's a big reason why, as I've said in the first 2 videos I sent out, this is a very unique situation. Very unique. And also, quite a few of you weren't ready to share your speeches yet. I did say to you, put OK in the subject line if you would like to share it with your classes. And, we have 3 classes, the 001, the 003, and the 005. And I was hoping to get 5 speeches from each class, and I was going to share them with the different classes. So instead of today just being 1 video for everybody, I was going to make 3 videos, 1 for each class. Well, we only have 6 videos total of all 3 classes where people said, okay, I don't mind if you share it with everybody. So have a good time. These are people from all 3 classes, so at least they're spread out among the 3 classes. We got a couple from this class, 3 from that class, and so on. And enjoy them talking about themselves and getting an idea of how people can be relaxed when talking about something that they have a great deal of knowledge about. Because once you get to your formal speeches, that's going to be a key. Even though, yes, it's a formal speech for a grade, knowledge of your topic makes for an excellent speech. So now we talk about chapter 1, okay? Communication. Well, what is communication? I mean, you used to ask my niece, of course, she would hold up her cell phone. She'd, oh, this is communication, Uncle Mike. Actually, in a way, she's kind of right. By the way, let me digress for a second. One of the things now that I'm actually very intrigued about having this class online, as a lot of you were delivering your speeches, is this looks like, as much as people have talked about it in the past, and I've even said it in classes where, even though we're in this great technology age, there's still going to be a need for you to get up in front of audiences and everything else. But it looks like this is a big way that a lot of us are going to be communicating from now on. Is going to be the way I'm talking to you right now, and when you're delivering your speeches, the way you'll be delivering the speeches to me and to your fellow classmates, is through this little camera at the top of your computer or your laptop or your phone, where however you're recording this. So one of the things we're going to work on in the next couple of weeks after Memorial Day weekend, we're going to start focusing on trying to look into the camera, because one of the things that you're going to have in the future is this kind of communication where you may not have sight of everybody you're talking to, or you may have those 65 little screens of people's faces like people do with these Zooms. But you're definitely going to have to look into that camera. And I've noticed this a lot lately because of the lockdown. But that's going to continue, especially because when you think about it, people, you're all striving to get your college degree and to have professional positions. Well, who are the people right now who are able to work during this lockdown? It's professionals, educated professionals who can work from home online on a computer, have their Zoom meetings and everything else. I mean, if I'm a truck driver, I can't work from home. If I'm someone who works as a manager or a server at Burger King or at a restaurant or something like that, I can't work from home. But as a professional, yeah, you'll be in front of this computer whether you're at work or you're at home, and a lot of people who haven't lost their jobs are professionals like you are striving to be. That's why you're trying to get your bachelor's degree. So we're going to work on looking into that camera when you speak. All right, now let's go back to chapter 1. So communication is pretty much anything. It's anything where you have the sending and receiving of messages through human symbolic interaction. Okay? Now, what human symbolic interaction means, it means all kinds of things. As long as a message is not only sent, received, but also understood. For example, you could be home and yes, you're not happy with what, because I know a lot of you still live at home. Maybe you're not happy with your mom cooked for dinner. So you slam your fork down on the table and your mother says, pick that fork up. Well, of course, that's communication. Her message was sent and was not only received, but you clearly understood she wanted you to pick that fork back up. But let's talk about some other type of communication. Remember when you were a senior in high school, when you thought you were still cool? You're like 17 years old, and you're coming home and you got talked into staying out about an hour past your curfew, and you're sneaking into your house, and you got that little buzz on. So while you think you're sneaking into your house, the whole rest of the neighborhood can hear you sneaking into the house. So you come in, you close the door, you lock it behind you, you put the latch on, and then you turn around, and your father's standing there like this. Now, he's not saying a word, but is the message clear? The message he's sending that you're receiving, is it not understood? Absolutely. Because when you see your father standing there like that, you just and then you just kind of give him the keys to the car. You're not driving for a month, and you slink your way upstairs to your bedroom. Or I'll give you another example of communication. Let's say you were at Bergen, and you're leaving the campus. You go down on Paramus Road South. You get onto Route 4. And you see this big white billboard. And the only thing that's on that white billboard is this big double bacon cheeseburger. And the only words you see scribbled on that billboard are 3/4 mile ahead. And sure enough, after driving 3/4 of a mile, you're pulling off Route 17, Route 4, into the drive-thru at Wendy's. So what that billboard said was clearly the message was sent, received, but also understood. Now, one of the best examples or models of how communication work is what I call the interactive model. And what it is, it's kind of a mix of you've got two models. You've got the linear and the transactional models in your textbook. And the interactive model is kind of like a mix of both. And as you can see from your assignment sheet, okay, one of the two sheets that I gave you, an example of what the interactive model is like. You have a sender who then encodes a message, creates a message, and sends that message to a receiver. The receiver then decodes that message, assigns some meaning to the message, and sends feedback to the sender. And if it's the feedback that the sender is looking for, then the communication is both successful and satisfactory. Now, I'll give you a great example. If I was in a classroom in front of you right now and I just said this, or I'm talking about this, this is a time where maybe it's at the beginning of class, so you're cracking out your notebooks, you're ready to start taking notes, and then you suddenly realize, I didn't bring a pen to a college classroom. So you go to the person next to you, you say, excuse me, you got an extra pen or pencil I can borrow? Without hesitation, that person reaches into their bag to get you an extra pen. Now, even before their hand reaches through the bag and touches that pen, sender sends a message to receiver. You have a pen I can borrow, please? The receiver decodes that, assigns some meaning, and sends feedback to the sender. Now, the feedback doesn't have to be verbal, but in this case, reaching into the bag to even look for an extra pen, that's the feedback that the sender is looking for. The communication is both successful and satisfactory. A lot of the successful communication in the interactive model occurs just like that, within like 2 to 3 seconds. Unfortunately, though, as you see the model below that on your sheet, sometimes that message is not received, or the feedback is not what the sender is looking for, because all those slanted lines represent what we call noise. Anything that disrupts the sharing of meaning is called noise. Okay? Some will also call it interference. It disrupts the sharing of meaning. It makes sure that a very simple, easy communication model does not work very well. Okay? Now, of course, there are 3 types of noise that they describe. There's external noise, or what we call physical noise. Okay? And we pretty much have an idea of what that is. Maybe, for example, some of you may know the campus very well. I was teaching this class, talking about this very subject, over in the B Wing. And right next to the B Wing is the tech building. And this was at a time when the tech building wasn't completed yet, but they were rushing completion in order for the tech building to be ready for the next semester. So as I'm speaking to the students, all you hear is boom, 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 boom. And of course, people in the back row couldn't hear a word I was saying. So that would be, of course, an example of physical noise. And of course, there's psychological noise. Okay, that's when there's nothing happening around you, but it's all up here. Okay, for example, probably one of the best examples I can give you. Have you ever tried to speak with someone the very next day after they've been dumped by their boyfriend or girlfriend? Nothing's getting through. Okay, because there might be no noise externally, but it's all up here. And you could say to them, all right, listen, I'm going to run home, I'm going to change my clothes, I'll come back and we'll go get some ice cream, okay? And they'll be like, okay. And then you come back and say, you ready to go get some? Or you ready to go? And they're like, go where? Because, of course, the message is not being received and understood, because what's going on pretty much up here is 2 things. Either A, how could that person dump me after everything I've done for them? Or B, how can I slash their tires without them knowing it's me? But otherwise, the psychological stuff going on here is just blocking out any sharing of meaning. Okay. Or my favorite psychological noise. And God, I just want to preface this by saying this. I love my colleagues. I love my colleagues so much they've actually elected me several times to be one of the union leaders here at Bergen among the Faculty Association. But sometimes I just don't know what the hell they're thinking. All right. To give you an example, psychological noise. Let's say you have a class at Bergen and it goes from 8 to 9:15 and you have a 9:30 class. Now you show up ready to go at 8, 8:15, you're taking your notes, no problem. Well, now it's 9:05. Well, now you start to put some extra stuff. You keep the one notebook out, but you start to put the extra stuff back into your bag. And now it's 9:10. Now you start to put your jacket or your coat on. Now it's 9:12. Now you start to turn your body and you're ready to go out. And then at 9:14 and 55 seconds, one of my wonderful colleagues will now say, wait, one more thing, don't go yet. And now they go on for an extra 3 to 5 minutes. Well, you have a 9:30 class. So during that time between 9:15 and maybe 9:18 or 9:20, whatever's coming out of their mouth, are you registering? Of course not. Psychological noise. Here's all that's going on in your head. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I got to go to my next class. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I got to go to my next class. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And as soon as they say dismiss, boom, you're gone. Okay? Then there's physiological noise. All right? And that, of course, has to do where the body influences the disruption of meaning. For example, we're now right in that beautiful season. Of course, everybody is focusing on the COVID-19, but this is that time where the allergies really start kicking in, where all the pollen levels are high, and I'll have someone show up to class, and they'll just be like, "Hey, I know I'm not feeling good. I didn't want to miss your class." And of course, you can see they've got just this probably softball-sized ball of snot right here in their sinus cavity. But yet they're going to sit there. And of course, they sit in the front row and they're just like, "I can't breathe." And you can see clearly that anything that I'm saying, and I will tell students that. I will say to them, listen, when we're face-to-face, you could always miss a couple of classes during the semester. It doesn't count against you. This is a class you should miss because you're not going to register anything. You are just not ready because their body, physiological. Now, let's go back to external as we get to your assignment. Okay? Now, external noise, people will always think it's what physical noise, what you may think, something that's banging or something like that. But anything that disrupts the sharing of meaning is noise and can be external noise. Now, I'm going to give you an example. And what I'm asking you to do as part of your assignment is I want you to write down for me all 3 examples of external noise that are in this scenario. All right? Here we go. 14-year-old Billy comes home from school. He immediately goes upstairs to his room, shuts his door, starts cranking his stereo. He's cranking out, what is he cranking out? Pearl Jam. I mean, here's a kid, it's 2020, Pearl Jam's the 90s. Come on, wake up, kid. But he's blasting his Pearl Jam and everybody in the neighborhood hears it. Well, of course, his mother hears that he's home. So now she comes out of the kitchen, yells up the stairs. She says, "Billy, come down here and take out the garbage." No answer. "Billy, come down here and take out the garbage." Still no answer. "Billy, come down here and take out the garbage." Nothing. "Billy, come down here and take out this garbage." Nada. So now she goes up the stairs. She goes to his door, bangs on his door. He, of course, opens up the door. "What are you banging on my door for?" And she's like, "Well, I've been calling you for the last 10 minutes. He's like, "Well, I didn't hear you." And you suddenly have this rise in tension and a conflict created simply because one or the other failed to remove the external noise from the situation. Now, there's 3 types of external noise in the scenario I just gave you. And I want you to tell me what those 3 were. Also, as you see at the other part of your assignment sheet, is I want you to tell me a situation where you tried to communicate with someone. You made an attempt, and that communication was disrupted by external noise. Then I want you to tell me a situation where it happened with psychological noise. And then finally with physiological, where either you tried to communicate or somebody tried to communicate with you. And all 3 different types of noises. Give me one example for each of those noises and how that communication was disrupted. And that's it. All right, you guys have a terrific day today. And don't forget, your assignments are due by 7 p.m. tonight, which is Tuesday. All right? Have a good one. And we'll see you later.